If you're wondering why closing is hard and nobody's buying, you're probably using sales tactics from 10 years ago, and that's a problem. Hey, coach, I'm Ronnie Noyes, and here's the good news. The new way of selling is actually easier. It's more honest, it feels better, and it works way better for coaches. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what changed, why it changed, and how to update your approach so you actually close more clients. And if you want to get the most out of this video, I recommend downloading my free Sales Foundations workbook. The link is in the description below. Okay, so first let's talk about what sales used to be, because if you learned sales from someone who's been doing it for decades, or if you took a traditional sales training, this is probably what you learned. The old sales model was all about control. You controlled the conversation. You controlled the information. You controlled the timing. You had a script that focused on hard sell. You had closing techniques, all which added up to a specific formula designed to get the person to say yes. So here's what that looked like in practice. You didn't tell them the price until the end. You made them sit through your whole presentation before they could even ask questions. You held back information because you thought if they knew too much too soon, they'd say no. You spent most of the meeting talking about your program, what it included, how long it lasted, what they'd get. You listed all the features and benefits and tried to sound as impressive as possible. When they raised an objection, a concern, or a question, you had a scripted response ready. And then you'd counter their objection with some technique you learned. The goal was not to let them say no. Keep pushing until they either said yes or hung up on you. This price is only good until midnight. I only have 2 spots left. If you don't sign up today, you'll lose this fabulous bonus. The goal was to get them to say yes, period. Whether they were ready or not, whether it was actually the right fit or not, whether they could afford it or not. You just wanted to close the deal, full stop. And if they said no, you took it personally. You felt like you failed. Because in old school sales, closing is the only measure of success. So why did that stop working? Simple. Information became accessible. 20 years ago, if someone wanted to hire a coach, they had limited options. They didn't have Google. They didn't have much, if any, social media. They couldn't research you or compare you to 10 other coaches in 5 minutes like they can today. But now, they've already researched you before they ever get in a meeting. They've read your website. They've watched your videos. They've looked at your reviews. They've compared you to other coaches. They come to the call or meeting informed. And when you try to use old school sales tactics on an informed buyer, it backfires hard. Let me tell you what happens when you try to hide your pricing. They think you're shady. They think you're overpriced and lose trust immediately. When you use fake urgency, they can tell. It makes you look desperate or dishonest. And when you try to overcome their objections with cleverly worded scripts, they shut down because they can tell you're not really hearing them. You're not really communicating. You're just trying to manipulate them into saying yes. Old school sales doesn't work anymore because buyers are smarter. They have more options, and they can smell manipulation from a mile away. So, what does work? What's the new way? New sales is about partnership, not persuasion. It's about helping people make good decisions, not convincing them to buy at any cost. It's about transparency, respect, and confidence. Here's what this looks like in practice. You put your pricing on your website or in your confirmation email. You tell them exactly what to expect on the call or the meeting. You answer their questions honestly, even if the answer might make them say no, because you trust them to make their own decisions, and because transparency builds trust faster than anything else. You spend most of the meeting asking questions and listening. You're trying to understand where they are, where they want to be, and what's in their way. And only after you really understand their situation do you make a recommendation. And sometimes that recommendation is not to work with you. When they say, I need to think about it, or that's more than I expected, you don't counter with a script. You get curious. You help them think it through. You help them work it out. Because an objection isn't a rejection. It's a request for more information or clarity. You're honest about availability. If you have limited spots, great, say so. But don't make stuff up. Don't create fake scarcity. Just be honest about what's real. And if they need time to decide, let them have it. You're not trying to pressure anyone into anything. You help them decide, not just close them. Your goal isn't to get every person to say yes. Your goal is to help every person make the right decision for themselves, wherever that is and wherever they may be. Sometimes that means they work with you. Sometimes it means they work with someone else. Sometimes it means they're not ready to do anything yet. All of those outcomes are fine and perfectly reasonable because you're focused on serving them, not just closing them. And from my personal experience, the people I treated with respect, which was everybody in my sales process, the people who truly weren't ready yet, not only came back to me when they were ready, they also told their friends about me. I know because those friends told me, because they trusted me to serve, not to do a hard sell. Here's another big thing that's changed. The buyer's journey is totally different now. It used to be linear: awareness, consideration, decision, one step after another, and you controlled that journey. But now it's all over the place. They might discover you on YouTube, binge watch 10 of your videos, read every page of your website, join your email list, follow you on social media, then book a discovery call. Or they might hear about you from a friend or Google you or see you speak. They'll look at one thing and immediately book a call. The point is, you don't control when or how they enter the journey or how fast they move through it. They do. So your job isn't to push them through a funnel. Your job is to be helpful at every stage, to provide value, whether they're just learning about you or they're ready to hire you today. That means creating content that educates, being transparent about your process and pricing, answering questions before they have to ask, making it easy for them to learn about you on their timeline, not yours. And when they do book a discovery call, they're already pretty far along in their decision making. They're not looking for you to convince them, to sell them. They're looking for you to confirm that you're the right fit. And they're trusting you to treat their search ethically and responsibly. So what does this mean for you? What do you need to actually do differently, if anything? First, flip your mindset. Stop thinking about sales as something you do to people. Start thinking about it as something you do for people. Your job is to help them make a good decision. That's it. Sometimes that decision is to work with you. Yay. Sometimes it's not. And that's okay. Second, be radically transparent. Put your pricing on your website. Make it public, or at minimum, give people a range. Tell them exactly what to expect on a discovery call with you. Share information freely. Stop gatekeeping. Yeah, some people will see your prices and not book. That's good. Those people weren't going to hire you anyway. Now you have that time back. Third, ask more, talk less. Spend at least half the call asking questions and listening. Really listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. Understand their problem before you present your solution. And if you can't help them, say so. Fourth, trust the process. Not every prospect will close. Not every prospect is a good fit. That's okay. Focus on being helpful. Focus on building trust. Focus on serving. The sales will come from that, not from pressure or manipulation. Fifth, create value at every touch point. Your website should be helpful. Your emails should be valuable. Your social media should educate. Your videos should solve problems. And your focus should be on serving, not selling. When someone interacts with you at any point in their journey, they should walk away thinking, wow, that was useful. This coach really knows what they're doing. That's what builds trust. And trust is what closes sales. Not awkward scripts, not false urgency, not sleazy closing techniques. Trust. Okay, let's review. Sales has fundamentally changed because buyers have changed. They're much more sophisticated and are aware and suspicious of hard sell sales tactics. Old sales was about control and persuasion. New sales is about transparency and partnership. Old sales pushed features and overcame objections. New sales listens first and helps people decide. Old sales created fake urgency and closed at all costs. New sales builds trust and respects the buyer's timeline. The coaches who figure this out, they close more clients while feeling better about the process. The coaches who keep using old school sales tactics, they still struggle and wonder why nobody's buying. So which are you going to be? Hey, if you haven't already, now is a good time to download my free Sales Foundations workbook. There's an exercise in there where you map out your current approach and identify what needs to change, if anything. Do that exercise. It'll help you see exactly where you're still using old sales tactics and what you need to update. The link is in the description below. And if this video was helpful, make sure you're subscribed. Next up in my How to Talk About Money series, we're diving into how to actually structure these new style sales conversations, the exact questions to ask, when to ask them, all of it. Now, not phony scripts, but smart word choices that actually help your prospects in their process, not manipulate them into making decisions against their better judgment that don't serve their goals. Drop a comment and tell me, what old school sales tactic are you finally ready to let go of? I want to know. Thanks for watching, Coach. I'm Ronnie Noyes, reminding you that today is a great day to be a coach.